We're just 4 days away from the midterm elections. I cannot believe it. We're back at the big board with Chris Bedford, who's executive editor for the Common Sense Society. All right, first up, what we'll see on Tuesday that will signal a good night for Republicans if the swing districts start to go back to red. Now, a key race to watch is Yesli Vega versus Abigail Spanberger. Now, Spanberger has been listed among the Politico's future Democratic stars at the risk of getting wiped out and has spent $8.3 million this year, according to Open Secrets. So a Democrat star, well, or maybe more of a Democrat dud. Chris Bedford, what do we think about that?
This is a bad day. This is going to be a bad week to be one of the rising Democratic stars. I think a lot of their young candidates, a lot of their bench are going to get wiped out in a year that may have even been a little bit beyond her control. Now, she came in 2018. She took this seat from Dave Bratt, and people remember him as the guy who knocked off Cantor, the House Republican leader in a primary. So she came in, but it's still a swing district. It could still go back and forth either way. And if she loses, which it looks likely she probably will, then if you're a Republican pollster, Republican consultant, you can breathe easy and say, all right, this is going at least the way I planned it to.
Well, she's another fake moderate Democrat. I mean, these people like Ryan in Ohio, and she said, oh, I'm a moderate. She's not a moderate at all. There's nothing moderate about her, and I think the voters know that. Now, another race to watch that would signal a good night for the GOP would be Michelle Vallejo and Monica de la Cruz. Now, the Ingraham Angle's last town hall was down in Houston, highlighting some of these races on the border. So what's your prediction there?
So this is a Biden +2 district, which is not enough fat if you're a Democrat who's in trouble. This is one the Democrats are basically expecting to lose. De La Cruz has run a very solid campaign. And also, they have reporters now going down to Texas and the border region saying, what's going on with Hispanics? Oh, it turns out they don't like any of the woke politics. The illegal immigration affects them directly. There are bodies found on their ranches and their farms. They're turning. So not only are they now worried that De La Cruz is going to win, but there are some districts heavily Hispanic around there. They're Biden +16 that they are now putting money into. They're worried about.
All right. Next up are the races that would mean the GOP's having a great night. Now, the first race would be if Michael Lawler can beat the DCC chair, Pat Maloney. What can you tell us about that race?
So these are some of the first East Coast races you're going to be watching where it's Biden +9, 10, 11. And if Republicans start to win in those races, well, it's going to be a really rough night for the Democratic Party. They haven't knocked off a DCCC chairman in about 40 years, since Ronald Reagan was president. And right now, it's not looking great for them. It's looking good for the Republican Party. And if you see people like this start to fall, then the Democrats are not going to have a good night.
All right. Next up race, if the Republicans, you see the Republicans ahead of Tuesday night, it will signal a midterm bloodbath for the Republicans. Now, the first one is that New Hampshire Senate race between Don Bolduc and Maggie Hassan.
This would be a bloodbath. This is when the Republicans are putting the pool cue across the bar door and saying no one can leave. He's raised about $2 million. She's raised about $40 million.
Oh, my God.
She's the incumbent.
Wow.
She's got all the money. He's barely been able to get on television. Literally, the Democrats spent more money than the Republicans did on his primary because they thought that he was too extreme to beat. And he's come out with some populist ideas, retired military. He is not backed down from anything. And
General, obviously.
Exactly.
Yep.
And New Hampshire is the most independent state in the union as far as voters go, or non-affiliated. Democrats might be wishing that they hadn't spent so much money to put him in the Senate on Tuesday.